IVM.
Hi, I'm Rohan Joshi, and on my podcast, the show about crypto, I've been having some pretty cool conversations with industry experts about what exactly cryptocurrency is and what makes it so exciting. If you haven't already, please check it out on the IVM Podcasts Network. Now, a quick shout out to my fellow crypto heads. We've got a listener survey going on, which will take not more than 10 minutes of your time to fill out. So please check the link in the description and help me out by filling it up. Don't forget to tune into a show about crypto on the IVM app and wherever you get your podcasts from.
This is Storytellers and Story Sellers live on tape. You're listening to me, Vineet Kanabar. This is the IVM Podcast Network. Continuing our love theme for this month, following up the episode on the music of Garai, we're talking to a power couple of digital content creation. I'm sure you have seen their sketches, hilarious comedy, very domestic Gharguti comedy, to be honest, on your feeds. Please give storytellers welcome to Chhavi and Mohit Hussain joining us from Shitty Ideas Trending. So glad to have you both on this show. Like I said before we started talking, I've been looking forward to doing this for a very long time. You've been on my wish list, I think, since the day we started this podcast. And I'm so glad that in somewhere at the 100th episode or so, we've got you on. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I love listening to the introduction, the word Ghar Guthi in the introduction. It just sounds so warm.
That's what.
And that's the first time actually somebody's used that word.
Oh, really?
मतलब लोग कहते हैं slice of life, लोग कहते हैं, it's very relatable, very organic and all that. But घर गुत्थी एक मतलब अपने आप में एक गुत्थी आपने सुलझा दी.
ये भी है. I was watching some of your recent episodes and there was one where you're talking to the maid about how she should manage her finances, which is like, इससे ज़्यादा मतलब kind और घरगुती बात और क्या हो सकती है. So,
that's the one where we celebrated her birthday actually.
That is the one where you celebrated her birthday. That was the one, that Baby ka birthday. That's what it's called. I have so much to ask you about, right? Like right from working together as a couple, creators, not just a creator, also entrepreneurs and running the company together. So much to talk about because of your TV background and how you handle TV and digital and what are similarities and differences. So much to talk about. But I will start with asking you how you guys met right after this break. Don't go anywhere. We're talking to Chhavi and Mohit from Shitty Ideas Trending right after these messages on Storytellers and Story Sellers.
Namaste, this is Cyrus Brocha. I am part of the government cancel culture program to remove rubbish off all the different streams available. So what we have is all the collected rubbish we put together on our show. It's called Cyrus Says. It's on IVM Podcast. You have to watch it and listen to it. It's on our app. It's on our website. It's on the YouTube channel. It's on Facebook. There are many different ways. Don't bother me and ask me how. You have to find out. We talk to different personalities. Many of them are known. Some are just people we meet downstairs and invite them up for chai. But the point is, it's fun and it's very therapeutic. So please join in and listen to Cyrus Says.
And we're back on Storytellers and Story Sellers. We've got Chhavi and Mohit. We're talking about how they met. Yep, like I said, so much to ask you, but let's start right at the start. It is Valentine's month after all. How'd you guys meet?
I want to first ask you, Mohit, baby, how many years has it been?
16 साल हो गए.
Are you sure?
हाँ, I'm very sure.
हो जाएंगे?
हाँ, अभी होंगे ना 16 साल शादी.
17 हो जाएंगे.
That's courtship included.
Okay.
I've done my math. Okay, I know these trick questions.
He came prepared for this episode.
Well, actually 17 हो जाएंगे, baby. Courtship included. 18 साल हो जाएंगे. Chalo, now you tell me how we met.
I'm not so good at math. I never claimed that. You can sue me for that.
Lovely safe.
How did we meet?
How did we meet? Oh, so we back in the day, actually, 18 years ago, I was casting for a telefilm that I was making for a television broadcast channel, and there were a lot of auditions going on. And Chhavi was one of the actors that I auditioned, and eventually she played the lead in that short film that I made. And that's how, the courtship started. That's where I got attracted to her and she found me irresistible. It's not her fault, I know, but तो उसके बाद बस वहां से शुरू हो गया and then अभी आप देख ही रहे हैं क्या चल रहा है. पिछले 6 साल से तो आप देख ही रहे क्या चल रहा है.
But I must tell you
Closely
that
following.
the first time that I met him, he rejected all my pictures. He didn't even want to audition me. He disliked me so much. And come to think of it, from that point, where I not only played the lead of his film, but also played the lead of his life. So cheesy that sounds. Yes, I did find it really stripper.
No,
That's
that
not a
is
lie.
true. Actually, photographs मैंने reject कर दिए थे सारे because मुझे गहराइयाँ नहीं दिखाई थी तुम्हारे expressions में. But no, I was totally wrong. Sometimes you can really not judge a book by its cover, and so that's where I kind of faltered. But thankfully, I made the right choice by actually casting you, right?
Yep.
I would agree, and I'm so glad you corrected the error of your ways, Mohit. We have such amazing content simply because you knew what when you were making mistake. Love it. I mean, thank you for that very whirlwind intro. I know 16 years is a long time for being together. Before I jump into those 16 years, let me ask you this. Chhavi, what attracted you about Mohit right at the beginning? And likewise for you, Mohit.
Okay. I want to say the first thing that drew me to him was the confidence, for sure.
Right.
He was a young director, up and coming. He was budding, but he knew exactly what he wanted. He was very clear about his thought process right from the beginning. And he had this charm, which I couldn't resist, which I still can't resist. And even today, baby, I want to tell you this, that you are literally the most intelligent, the smartest, and the most handsome man that I see in a room when I walk into one.
So
अभी मैं
sweet.
क्या बोलूं?
Very hard to follow that up, sir.
इतना मेरे को नहीं आता. मैं शाहरुख खान थोड़ी हूँ.
But ये जो आपने सवाल पूछा है मोहित से, ये सवाल मैं उससे बहुत बार पूछ चुकी हूँ. And he's made episodes and episodes about this question. The woman asking this question to the man, "What do you like about me?" And I'm telling you, he doesn't have the answer to that. He's the worst. I really want to hear him give it a try again. Let's see how good he is now after 18 years.
Make this episode special for me.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. It's very simple. You complete me, baby. Beautiful. इससे ज़्यादा मैं क्या बोलूं? मतलब, I'll tell you what. I am the laziest when it comes to, like, I'm the epitome of laziness. If she was not in my life, I would have not made a career in TV. Forget TV. I would have not started a digital company. I would have not bought the house that I bought. I would have not bought a car. I would have not done anything. So she drives me totally. She drives my life, and she makes me who I am. She pushes me in the right ways, and she makes sure that I live up to that dreamy man that she believes that I am. I have to put up an act every day, but yeah, I'm being successful for 17 years.
But that's the thing, right? You fake it till you make it, and if you fake it enough number of times, it makes you anyway. That was such a beautiful answer, but Mohit, I refuse to believe that you don't know the answer. I think that was so
it's just organic. I think you bring out the good in me.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I know it's like I've almost never asked anyone, what do you like about in your partner? But I'm glad I broke that duck with you guys. Beautiful answers. Let me turn this into more of regular programming on this podcast. So you're a successful TV actress. You're working in TV as a director as well. Suddenly, 2013, 2014, you moved to a completely new platform, completely new medium. What really drove that decision for you guys, right? And what was the initial vision to put out there? Was it just an experiment? You're like, karke dekhte hain kya hota hai? Or you had a very clear idea of, hey, no, we know what we're not getting maybe on TV, and this is what the audience digitally wants. So let me dial it back. What was the original thought, the vision, and what were some challenges that
I'll tell you the reason that we decided to sort of make a shift from television to this. At that point of time, we didn't even know that it was actually going to be a shift. We just wanted to take a break from our monotonous lives. We had just had a baby, and she was 2 years old at that time. And in those 2 years, we realized that we are not being able to spend too much time with each other as a family. And we knew that, I mean, for Mohit and me both, thankfully, we're on the same page when I say that family always comes first. And we knew that we don't want to raise a child, with a single parent. Like, either it's just me or it's just him. If I'm shooting, he was home. If he was shooting, I was home. And it was always like that. It was never the three of us together. And that was the main reason why we thought that we want to do something which we can do as a family, which we can do together, and which gives us the freedom to choose how we want to use our time. And the second reason was to do something creatively. I think Mohit will also agree that he also want, as a television director or a television actor, you're always following instructions, you're always following a script, you always do what other people tell you to do, but whatever you want to do creatively, you never get the freedom to do it.
Right.
So to be able to do something like that was a golden opportunity. I mean, social media platforms were just about coming up, and Mohit is a brilliant director. And like he said, I nudged him and I nagged him till he said that yeah, let's go ahead and give it a try.
Love it.
Yeah, so pretty much that, good. छवि ने ले लिया ये आंसर. मैं बोलता तो शायद 1 घंटा यहीं पे खत्म हो जाता because इतनी सारी चीजें हुई थी उस दौरान. But yes, the gist of it is pretty much this, and I would say, a lot of people try. We are blessed, we are lucky enough that we tried and we succeeded to a certain degree.
I still remember it was our 10th wedding anniversary. It was the anniversary, and that was the first time after the baby that we decided to go for a staycation. We stayed in a hotel in Mumbai. We had a heart to heart, and I told him, "You're not there. We want to spend more time with each other. What to do?" And we toyed with a lot of ideas. We thought, okay, we'll start a restaurant. We thought we'll sell everything and go to Goa and start a resort. And our daughter will be serving food to guests, and all those dreamy ideas came. And then we decided that no, we're not good with any of that. We don't know anything. It's not easy to get into the hotel business. And then we reached the conclusion that okay, content creation is what we know, and we should try and give it our own try a hand at that.
I love it. I think already I must have spent 10 minutes talking to you guys, but there's such a nice balance to the two of you, right? Like there's obviously great creative talent, but there's a drive in some places. There's a sort of acceptance. It feels so nice to hear you talk about those days. Let me ask you this though, right? It's a big pivot. TV, your talent, right? Actor ho, director ho. There's a करिकुलम बहुत सिंपल है. सिलेबस में यही है, आपको ये करना है, शॉट देना है, घर जाना है, या डायरेक्ट करना है, घर जाना है. वी नीड टू डू पोस्ट में एडिट करके सबमिट करना है. On the creator side, and this I'm talking early days, right? When you were just starting out, was there a sort of business plan that you had in mind? Did you think, okay, cool, we'll produce these many episodes or we produce these many videos, this is how we'll engage with brands, this is what the team will... How did you arrive at those things for yourself? And again, I'm coming from a point of view where my time at TVF also, we didn't know how to do it. We really started building 2015 and 2016 was really when the market also started waking up. Acha, ye ho raha hai. But how did you guys manage that?
So I'll tell you, I mean, funny story that you've been a part of TVF, and TVF was actually very instrumental in us or me, us thinking that we could also do something like that. When I was introduced to TVF by a friend, I think it was a video that you guys had created with Anurag Kashyap had come on board, and there was some kind of a roadies kind of an episode. There was some spoof where he'd come to promote a movie, and then there was a lot of banter and a lot of fun stuff. I don't remember the episode exactly, but somebody suggested, a friend of mine, कि यार तूने देखा है ये TVF क्या होता है and all that. I said नहीं, मुझे नहीं पता. So then I started watching it, and I used to love watching it. So after a hard day's work, I used to come back home and I used to put my headphones and I used to watch TVF videos on my phone.
And I still remember, I used to be sleeping and I could hear him move with laughter. And I would look at him like, kar kya rahe ho raat ke 2 baje?
And I used to always wonder, Vinny, कि ये कौन बेवकूफ लोग हैं. मैं तो जाता हूँ सुबह शूटिंग पे, मेरे को पैसे मिलते हैं, एक प्रोड्यूसर है जो मुझे पैसे देता है, नेटवर्क है जो मुझे पैसे देता है, मैं जाता हूँ 12 घंटे काम करता हूँ, घर आता हूँ, मेरा पर डे फिक्स हो गया आज का, फिर कल जाऊंगा, फिर एक नया पर डे फिक्स हो जाएगा. मतलब लाइफ इज सॉर्टेड, राइट? ये लोग क्यों बना रहे हैं बेवकूफ है? किसके लिए बना रहे? कौन इनको पैसे कौन देता है? I had no clue. We had no clue. I think that was the biggest blessing, I would say, in our journey so far, is that we did not know that this is a business model. We did not know that this can be monetized. We had no idea that there is something called branded content. We knew nothing about it. We just enjoyed a certain kind of content that we watched, and we thought, why can't we make this?
Right.
We are also creators. We have stories to tell. We can do something. हम भी करते हैं. तो हमने ऐसे चल पड़े, लिटरली, एंड धीरे धीरे हमको समझ में आया कि अच्छा ये लोग इसलिए करते हैं. ओ, पैसे मिलते हैं इसके. तो जब हमको भी वो realization हो गई, उसके बाद then obviously this became a full-time business for us.
Love it. Anything to add, Chhavi?
Just that initially when we started out, yeah, of course we didn't think about it as business, but the high that we got when the very first video went viral was insane, and I can never forget that day. We were shooting the second video, I think, and the first video we had put out on Facebook, and it had gone viral, and that was the first time I experienced the refresh button. Every time I would refresh it, and I was refreshing it literally every 10 seconds, and I could see 1,000 views going up, and I was going like literally, shaking with excitement that, oh my God, so many people are watching our episode. And there were other people who were uploading our episode on Facebook. And it was a different kind of high. And also the kind of popularity that I started receiving as a television face. I had done television for a good 10 years, and I'd done all main lead shows on all networks. I had hoardings across the country for multiple shows. But the recognition and the love that I got because of these videos, I never got for television. And I think for me, that was far more gratifying than any amount of money that we make.
I love it. So what I'm getting is, you start out, you figure creator satisfaction, audience connect, and then someone tells you that, oh, idhar kuch IIT wale bachchon ne paisa bhi kamana seekh liya isme se. So the full Monty is there right now. What I want to ask you is, you guys obviously had worked together before, right? And then you started this new thing, which was just your baby. How did working together change or evolve, or did it change or evolve, or did you already have sort of set patterns? You knew each other's strengths so well that it was let's figure this out very quickly. How did that work?
I think working together initially was a struggle, because when we worked on television, we hadn't worked at a long stretch together. Secondly, we were never the decision makers. He still was, because he was directing, and I was just an actor. So my job was to do what the director tells me to do. But suddenly here, you make me the co-creator. He has a lot of experience with writing. I had none. Right. I was just starting out. But that thing, I think I took a little time to understand that it's very important to give both of us our own respective roles and then not interfere in each other's work. So now, after a long time, we have very defined roles in the company, and then we don't try to interfere in each other's job, and that is very, very peaceful. And I think just because we found that harmony at work, we've also found a lot of harmony in our personal lives, because we've learned how to give each other space even there.
That's so lovely to hear. Mohit,
yeah, that's exactly how it happened. I mean, initially it was very challenging, because होता क्या है, एक तो सेट पे आप अकेले नहीं हो, और भी लोग हैं, और हम रियल लोकेशन पे शूट कर रहे हैं. कई बार एक छोटा सा कमरा है, छोटा सा फ्लैट है, 2 BHK, तो सारे लोग वहीं हैं. तो उसमें एक तो स्पेस नहीं मिलती थी, और उस पे से आपकी बीवी आपको कुछ बोल रही है, जो एक्टर भी है. तो एज सो रोल्स आर लाइक फ्रॉम स्कूलिंग, द डायरेक्टर हैज द फाइनल वर्ड.
Right.
There's no argument beyond that, unless there is a creative banter that happens between an actor and director, which is also sometimes organic, but eventually it is the script that you have to follow, right? Because that has come down after multiple checks. यहाँ पर वो नहीं है. Everything is extempore. सब जगह पे ही बन रहा है, सब कुछ spontaneously हो रहा है, स्क्रिप्ट लिखी भी नहीं गई है. तो उसमें थोड़ा सा क्या होता था, फ्रिक्शन होता था, बिकॉज मुझे लगता था कि ये क्यों बोल रही है यार, मेरा काम है ना, मैं बताऊंगा, या ये अब मुझे ये सिखाएगी, ये मुझे सिखाएगी मेरा काम, कि मैं इतने साल से झक मार रहा हूँ.
और सबसे स्ट्रेसफुल होता था इसके लिए. नाउ आई अंडरस्टैंड दैट आई डिडंट. एवरी नाउ एंड देन आई वुड से, बेबी अंदर आना जरा. हाँ
भाई, अंदर आना, और उसके बाद बाहर
dreaded words.
हाँ, और बाहर आके पूरा एटीट्यूड चेंज. डायरेक्टर बोल रहा है हाँ ओके, जैसा करना कर लो. नहीं ठीक है, ये ठीक है, कर लो. Luckily उस टाइम पे there was not so much at stake, right? So it worked. Initially there was not too much at stake. We not given up our television careers completely. We were just trying our hand at this. I always went back and did some TV work also, because obviously there had to be revenue coming into the house for the house to run. चूल्हा कैसे जलेगा टाइप्स, वो सवाल के भी जवाब.
2 वक्त
की रोटी कहाँ से आएगी?
प्लस किड्स.
हाँ, किड्स. तो वो उस टाइम पे चल गया. बट उसके बाद जब थोड़ा सा वो स्ट्रीमलाइन हुआ, एंड देन वी रियलाइज दैट दिस इज गोइंग टू बी समथिंग दैट वी गोइंग टू बी really putting all our time into now. That's where I think we started defining our roles a little better. We also got the understanding after going through that struggle phase that it's going to be difficult if we kind of keep coming to each other's way.
Also, I think once we started making these videos, once I actually started watching him create everything right from the beginning, to write the script, to shoot it, then to edit it, then to do the music, to cut the promo, everything, I could see his vision behind it. And I don't think I can never have that kind of a vision. So today, whenever there is something if I feel something which is, contrary to what he's feeling, I say my point of view, but the final call is always his, because I trust his vision 100%.
I love it. I mean, like I said, back to the balance point that I was talking about. It's very clear that there's a very nice trust in ecosystem. In this ecosystem, there's a great balance. I never thought of it this way, right? Because obviously the technical chops that Mohit has are such a big thing, right? I mean, I'll just draw a quick comparison. We did an episode with Gaurav Paji and Ritu Bhavi last year, and they were talking about how they didn't know anything, right? They were like, मुझे नहीं पता. He started. He picked up his camera the first time when he said, "मुझे creator बनना है." Right? So big ups to you and kudos for translating all of that you've taken from TV into this. Before I ask you, and I want to double click on your decision to not do TV. I'm guessing you don't do TV anymore, right?
No, not at all.
So I want to double click on that decision. But before I get there, I want to ask you this: how has your input into programming, आप क्या कौन सी story बताते हो, क्या बनाना चाहते हो, how has that changed over the last 6 years, right? Because the modern urban couple stories are still very rare. TV पे तो अभी भी नहीं है, right? And online you have them, but they're all in very different settings. But the sort of situation that you're in, super relatable modern couple setup, obviously, while there's a lot of stories that you can tell about it, the way you want to tell them, what you want to say, obviously changes over time. I'd love to know how you used to program then and what are the things you put in programming now. How has that changed?
So I'll tell you what, Vineet, when we started out, we very, very typically wanted to create a destination for men to come and watch content, right? And also that was the major demographics on digital. Right. I mean, men were consuming content digitally and women were consuming content via broadcast satellite channels.
Right.
तो हमको बनाना था. हमारा पहला शो था Men the Real Victims, जहाँ पर एक बीवी थी जो बहुत ही ज्यादा ओवरबेयरिंग सी थी, बहुत ही हैंडपैक सा हस्बैंड था. मतलब हैंडपैक भी नहीं कहूंगा मैं उसको, बट थोड़ा सा बैटर्ड हस्बैंड था. Right. That's why we called it Men the Real Victims. But as we grew, that journey grew, and we kind of these characters evolved with time. And I think we are the only independent creators who've distributing via Facebook, where we have, though we do sketch content, we've brought the sitcom format onto digital, right? I mean, so we retained our faces, the faces remain same, yet every story is independent, yet the longer arc of these characters is there. From where they started out, they're 5 years into them with marriage, they got pregnant in the middle, they have a child now. So that progression of their characters has been there. With progression, they've evolved. So stories are also evolving as these characters are evolving. So I used to always feel, when I would write a script, and I wanted to be a filmmaker, and I made a film also in 2007. But anyways, when I used to write a film script as a writer, I used to first write down character sketches. Right. And then write the story, one line, concept note, then get into the screenplay. That used to be the stage by stage, ये उसका breakdown था. But SIT की जर्नी में हमने रियलाइज किया, या मैंने एज अ राइटर ये रियलाइज किया कि कैरेक्टर स्केच हमने लिखा ही नहीं कभी. राइट. हमने तो कहानियां बनाना शुरू कर दी, कैरेक्टर्स तो कहानियों की वजह से बन गए. राइट. So the whole reverse of how you would approach storytelling, SIT is the complete reverse of that. Characters got created while telling these stories. So the evolvement of these characters and the loyal audience, like we miss sometimes. For example, Rohini did something in episode 22 in season 2, and now she's in season 6 doing episode 14. We do something wrong there or miscommunicate a fact. There are audiences which will write to us saying that, "अरे but उसने उस season में तो उस episode में तो ये बोला था, अभी आप ऐसे कैसे बोल रहे हो?" That is the kind of viewership that we've built, that the loyalty to the content that we've created. Yes, I don't know whether I've answered your question. I think
you totally have. You totally have. What I want to follow that up with right now, we've talked about how you started. We've talked about how your programming was working out. We've talked about how you both found a balance working with each other. I want to talk about the big decision of sort of quitting TV. Did it just happen organically that, oh, we were spending so much time doing this now that we stopped looking out for that? Or was it a conscious choice saying, hey, hard line in the sand, not going to do TV anymore. This is our bag and this is what we're building. How did that work out? Chhavi, maybe?
Okay, so part of it was that there was not enough time. We got very busy with SIT. I'm answering for myself. Mohit will answer for himself. I actually did try a hand at getting back to television in the middle, but I realized that it is not something that I can do anymore. And I gave in my papers in the first 1 month itself, because the process in which television works is very, very different. It's monotonous, it's tedious, it's uninteresting, it's boring, there's nothing to do basically. You can't show your talent as creatively, you can't really do anything. And after a point, all the stories, they sound the same. At least that's how I felt. When I went back to TV, I thought, oh, this is something that I did donkeys years ago. It felt like I'm going back in my career. I'm not progressing, I'm regressing. And I thought that it's very important that since I've taken a step forward in life, I want to keep moving forward and not try to go backward and try to do something which I have left. So that's the reason why even today, I get some really good, from television standards, I get really good offers, but I find myself really happily declining them.
No, so for you, it's the autonomy, the experimentation, doing things that you love doing instead of sort of a set format.
Yes, plus over here, I get to do a lot. And when you're on social media, when you're on the digital medium, you don't have a choice but to keep learning every day. You don't get stagnant. So that whole pace, I've started enjoying that. On television, again, it would be a lot of money, but I would just be acting and saying lines which somebody else has written. They may not resonate with me. I may not find them convincing, but I will find a way to, say them convincingly, and it's just drudgery at the end of the day.
That's the best word for GCTV anyway. I think sports is the only reason to watch TV anymore. There's no point in news, no point in GC.
You know what? I still get offers for TV. If anybody hears it now, then I'm not going to get any more offers. At least I get the high of declining them.
I'm sorry. I don't get any TV offers, so I can say. But Mohit, what about you? How was that decision for you?
So for me, actually, I have to go completely against all logic, because at the end of the day, SIT was not monetized to that extent for me to have taken that decision financially कि चलो ठीक है यार सब छोड़ते हैं और ये करते हैं because पैसे तो आ रहे हैं. ऐसा नहीं था. And against logic, I would say, because they say don't put all your eggs in one basket. We literally did that. We put all our eggs in one basket and we thought कि नहीं करते हैं, because ये था कि we saw a roadmap with TVF. So that was always an encouraging factor. Though we did not go down the road of picking up funding and all, maybe we'll come to that and why we didn't do that. We saw the roadmap that this branded content, and we'd already kind of got a taste of that with our first branded piece that we created for Flipkart. Mm-hmm. And that was exciting for us because, we were just 10,000, 15,000 followers at that time. And still a brand came to us because they found our content interesting to tell a story for them. So we thought कि अगर इसमें full time invest नहीं करेंगे ना, तो we'll miss the bus.
Right.
फिर इसका कुछ नहीं होगा. फिर then you'll be like, वो वाली भी कहावत है ना कि दो नाव पे पैर रखने से आप पानी में गिर जाते हैं.
Right.
तो वो वाली बात थी कि वो choice था, वो option था सामने, तो we chose this and we followed this through. So it was against logic, like I said, but I think it was the right decision.
But unlike me, Mohit still gets some really exciting offers. He gets called from OTTs, he gets called from TV, and some really good scripts just to set up the show. So he can even like take a gap of a month or two and do something and come back. But he doesn't cheat on SIT ever.
Love it, Mohit. Keeping the faithful husband flag flying high. I love it absolutely. Let me ask you this though before we go into the break. We talked about this very lightly before. How did you figure out monetization? Whether it's brand or whether it's just setting up and scaling up a company. I'm sure first 1 lakh subscribers ke baad you were like, boss, ab to isko leke jana hai, whatever, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, 8 million, 10 million. But all of that needs money, right? How did you start setting that up? And I want my listeners to also appreciate the fact that both Chhavi and Mohit were talent. They're not producers, they're not entrepreneurs. So I'm sure it was a whole new skill set to figure out. I'd love to know how you started doing that.
Yeah, initially, I think it was very funny because the video started getting viral and the brands started noticing us. We hadn't still started noticing brands because we literally didn't know what to do. And we started getting mails saying that, okay, come for this meeting and we would like to talk to you and blah, blah, blah. And then we went and met a few brands. And it was very funny because we literally did not know what is to be said in a meeting, what is to be done in a meeting, and what is it that they expect from us.
Right.
So we have literally learned everything like a little baby. And that's how the whole journey
शुरुआत में एजेंसीज के जब कॉल आते थे, हम मीटिंग भी करने गए कुछ एजेंसीज से. Some big agencies in Mumbai called us and we went Group M and the whole the web chatings of the world and everybody. तो हम वहां जाते थे, हमको लगता था हम कॉन्सेप्ट नोट लेके जाएंगे, इनको दे देंगे और हो जाएगा काम. इतना अच्छा तो है कॉन्सेप्ट नोट, इसमें तो मतलब बढ़िया वीडियो बना देंगे और क्या. बट वो नहीं वर्क करता था. हमने बाद में रियलाइज किया कि नहीं, एक प्रॉपर डेक बनाना पड़ता है, एक प्रॉपर प्रोजेक्शन दिखाना पड़ता है कि कितने व्यूज आएंगे, ये क्या है, वो क्या है, रीच कितनी मिलेगी. तो ये सब हमने बहुत बाद में सीखा. बट लकीली आई थिंक सम ऑफ द ब्रांड्स हु केम ऑन बोर्ड इनिशियली were very, very supportive, and luckily they were all big fans of the content that we created, and they were big fans of the content, and that's why I think when we met them, they saw that that they found that connection with us, and it just sometimes it was just कि यार चल करते हैं यार, देखते हैं क्या होता है.
Right.
And धीरे धीरे सीखा यार. एक मीटिंग में एक नई बात सीखने मिलती थी और फिर उसको हम कैरी फॉरवर्ड कर लेते थे अगली में. फिर अगली में कुछ नया सीखते थे, उसको हम बना लेते थे कि हाँ चलो ये भी कहना चाहिए या ये भी बताना चाहिए. So yeah.
But I want to say that some of the earlier brands that we worked with, I want to right now call them the smarter ones because they chose to work with us. The smarter brands understood Mohit's talent because when he narrates a story, there are few people who can actually visualize what's going to happen, and people who could see that this is going to be a brilliant script. And I've seen people laugh at during the narration and resonate with what he's saying and relate to it with their own lives, and that is always something that makes a huge impact on people. Absolutely. And then of course there were a lot of these people who helped us understand, and on a friendly way they told us ye bhi karna chahiye, ye bhi bolna chahiye, ye bhi aap bologe to it'll help, and that's how we learned.
I love it. I mean, what I'm getting is you learned by observing, you learned by reaching out to people and figuring things out. What I want to ask you is from a team perspective, and I want you to for a second wear your entrepreneurial hat. Did you start hiring for this role separately, or did you say, hey, let me understand this first completely and only then I'm going to start building for it? How did you guys approach that?
Again, with ignorance comes bliss sometimes. Sorry, we might sound very dumb as entrepreneurs. People,
not at all. I think honesty is the best.
उनको लगेगा कि कौन बेवकूफ लोग हैं, इनकी किस्मत अच्छी है, बस ऐसा नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं है, हमारे पास टैलेंट भी है, बट यस किस्मत भी अच्छी थी. तो लिटरली मतलब हुआ ये कि हमको इनकमिंग मेल्स आना शुरू हो गए.
राइट.
तो हमने ये डिसाइड कर लिया कि जो इनकमिंग आ रहा है हम उसी पे कॉन्सेंट्रेट करेंगे. हम आउटगोइंग भूल जाते हैं.
sure.
क्योंकि हम जाके किसी को समझाए कि हम क्या करते हैं या हम क्या बना सकते हैं या क्या नहीं बना सकते हैं, उसमें वक्त ज्यादा लगेगा. जो सामने से आ रहा है उसको ऑलरेडी पता है हम क्या करते हैं, इसलिए वो आ रहा है.
right.
तो इसको ठीक से पकाते हैं, इसको ठीक से मतलब लेट्स ट्राई टू कंसोलिडेट विद दिस पर्सन हु इज ऑलरेडी इंटरेस्टेड इन अस rather than running after somebody who doesn't know us. So that thing I think and luckily we had enough inquiries coming in.
Right.
And we could not close on concept notes and decks, but we would always close on a narration. So we would insist that please take a narration from Mohit. Chhavi would insist on calls. Somebody who would take the call from office would insist कि सर एक बार आप सुन लीजिए, एक बार आप मोहित से सुन लीजिए, उसके बाद आप डिसाइड करो करना है कि नहीं करना है. एंड मोर ऑफन देन नॉट एक बार सुन लेते थे लोग, तो फिर उनको लगता था कि हाँ यार ये ठीक लग रहा है.
I think it's literally never happened that you've given narration and you haven't closed the deal.
Love it. What a streak.
Yeah, touch wood.
On that note, we will go
मैं क्या करूं, लोग बेवकूफ हैं.
On this note, now we will go into a quick break. Come back and talk a little more to Chhavi and Mohit. Stay tuned to this wonderful chat. Come back after a few messages.
If you're a cricket fan, check out Edges and Sledges, India's favorite cricket podcast.
The podcast focuses on Indian cricket, the IPL, and has a ton of banter both on and off the field.
We talk about the week's biggest cricket stories with current and ex-international cricketers, coaches, or sometimes just between us.
And it's hosted by me, DJ.
Me, Varun.
And me, Ashwin.
New episodes release every week.
You can catch us on the IVM Podcast's website, app,
or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast.
And we're back. This is Storytellers and Storysellers. We're talking to Chhavi and Mohit from SIT, Shitty Ideas Trending. Before the break, we were talking about their journey, about how they decided to start the channel, how they quit TV, how they started monetizing. We'll fast forward to present day and talk to Chhavi and Mohit about how things are going right now. So, I guess you've been around six years, right? I think now you're in season 6. What keeps you guys going? And I know that the love that the audience gives you is addictive and you always want more and more. But as artists, right? As people who started out in entertainment and not just as creators, right? What keeps you going? How has this new thing that you've created, SIT, how does it keep you motivated? What keeps you coming back to make more?
So I think we still haven't seen the potential of SIT, full potential of SIT yet. Mm-hmm. There are so many stories that we want to still tell. There are so many more characters that we want to kind of present on any platform that's available to us. So I think for us to be relevant, it's important to keep creating. Mm-hmm. If we stop creating, then I think we lose the edge of relevant enough. And the audience, again, we come from TV background, so mind works with television thinking and schooling is there. So we feel that out of sight, out of mind, you continue to create something and dish it out to the audience. So ये कहीं ना कहीं वो आपकी story के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं. Maybe they go away for a couple of weeks, but they'll come and find you again with one video, and then they'll discover you and they'll watch maybe 5 that they've missed out. Mm-hmm. So that is a back and forth process for us with our community that we've built. And we want to continue that process because also it keeps us relevant with brands, right? Even if there is no brand on a video, we'll still go out and produce that video. When we cast and take dates from actors, if we are lucky, we'll find a brand to partner with. If we don't, we'll still tell that story. We'll pay from our pocket, and that's where we invest the maximum. We don't invest so much in the marketing part. Mm-hmm. We don't invest so much in a sales team. We invest back into content because that's what gives us the revenue. So we continue that process. That's what keeps us motivated. I think I've said it, Chhavi.
Yeah. And I think also every time there is a little bit of boredom that's setting in, and we keep feeling that we have to do the same thing again. Now come on, shoot the same video. Then we start thinking of completely different, fresh stories, and we do web series which are completely different from what we normally do. And then it's very, very exciting to put a team together and then go out, shoot it, edit it, and create a different marketing campaign for it. Create different kind of content pieces across social media, and that sort of rejuvenates the whole thing. And then we look forward to coming back to the same sitcom stories that we do. And I think brands also then get more interested. When you're doing a new show, then they're interested in doing the new show, and then when you come back to the old content, and they feel, no, that is what we want to do. And I think that kind of keeps us going. Also, there are so many different tools which keep coming out on social media, especially Facebook. Right. It keeps it always keeps you on your toes. You have to reinvent, and you have to try and experiment with everything so that you can stay relevant and you can continue to grow.
Let me actually double click on that. How has your artistic view or creative diet or creative practice changed, right? And let me paint you a picture quickly. For a TV director, it's about watching other TV shows probably, right? Or reading other stories. But when you're a digital creator, you can consume other content, but the immediate feedback is comments. Immediate feedback is analytics, right? There's so much more input that you have. Can you tell me how, for the two of you individually and for SIT together, how that's changed for you with the digital tools that we have? I mean, are you looking at, when you put stuff out on Facebook, are you also looking at activating a Facebook group? Are you also looking at other stuff there? Just want to know how you approach this as creators.
Yes, analytics plays a huge part in understanding how a content piece is done and what is working and what is not working. I mean, purely, obviously, the impressions and views itself is a great indication. But I'm saying when you dive deeper into it, then there are so many more, parameters that you can judge how a video is performed in that sense. And then I think tools, Chhavi has been a master of tools, using everything
Yeah, so I
that
think
Facebook has to offer.
my favorite tool is the live streaming tool, because you immediately get to interact with the viewers, and we're very, very popular on Facebook that way. We get huge engagement on the Facebook live streams. It's very gratifying when you speak to people. It's literally almost like face to face, and you get these comments, and you understand what kind of content they're enjoying and what they don't want to see. And I love that. And then
Also, when the best part is in a live stream, what I enjoy the most is I'm looking at the comments in one device, and I'm looking at people joining in from every continent. It's not just pan India,
Right.
it is pan global. I mean, it's totally, you have people coming in from the Middle East, there is people joining from the US, Australia, Africa. I mean, Mauritius and Indonesia. And so, it just kind of, that's a great high that you have people following you across the globe. You're not just a
An Indian
local
creator. Yeah.
you're not just a local talent or a local creator. You have a global standing to a certain degree,
Right.
And also, I think a big analytic for Mohit is also that nowadays, when we go out, people actually come up to him and say, "You're Mohit Hussain, right? From SIT." That has never happened with him as a TV director. "Oh, you're Mohit, you're directing that show." Never happened, right? And he was on Facebook hoardings, yeah. I mean, as a creator to be on hoardings, I think was his first time.
Massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive.
Yes. Yeah. That was a great hire. I mean, those are the big tentpole kind of pivots that we can remember in terms of yaar ye cheez nahi bhul sakte kabhi.
Brilliant. Let me ask, this question is sponsored by Mark Zuckerberg, so I will ask you this. What has been Facebook's role in your growth? Like, how have they supported you through this journey?
Oh, like I just said, I mean, the popularity that we received on Facebook, had that not happened, I don't know if we would have continued to create the content that we were creating, because that instant, and even today when we meet, I think 80% of people that we meet say that aapke videos Facebook pe dekhe hain. It feels amazing because it's literally like that then, and that they know that we are there on Facebook, and to know that on their feed our videos are showing. And also, I think as a social media platform, when you have the option to share something on Facebook, that option you don't have on other platforms, right? Even on Instagram, if you share a post, you can only share it in a story which stays for 24 hours. But on Facebook, you directly share it to your feed post, and all your friend list can see it, and it just amplifies your reach so much more. And I love that.
Also, because a lot of people discover us on Facebook.
Right.
A lot of people discover us on Facebook, and they because even if they don't know us, suddenly one video becomes popular. It has some maybe 15 million views or 20 million views. Then suddenly there is a new audience base that you kind of form, and you see that week if a video is done really well, you see that you've gained around 25,000 followers or 30,000 followers, because that's how many people discovered you who didn't know you before,
right.
And now they're going to consume more of your content, so you know that these guys have become your followers.
Right. Let me ask you this sort of final question on platforms. Is there a significant difference from where you see it as creators on the audience on YouTube versus the audience on Facebook, or audience on different platforms? Is there a significant difference? And how do you then solve for that in storytelling? I'd love to know.
So what we've done is, again, it's been a learning curve for us. And yes, Facebook audience is very, very different from other social media platform audiences, because we know that, because like Chhavi said, when we meet people, these are people who are watching us on Facebook. They never say that हमने आपको YouTube पे देखा या Instagram पे देखा या किसी और platform पे देखा, हमने आपको Facebook पे देखा. तो Facebook की एक audience है. अब Facebook का format जो है वो support करता है एक अलग तरीके का video. Now they are promoting it to be, more kind of 9:16 rather than a 16:9. So we've adapted to that format.
Right.
We've also we also reformat the content that we create for other social media platform. So if a video on any other platform is, say, a 10-minute video, on Facebook, it gets re-edited, reformatted into 5-minute 2 clips, right? So we know that the audience has a little less retention time on Facebook. So how to engage them better. We'll never अगर YouTube पे for example, like मैं आपको एक example देता हूँ. अगर मान लो पहला shot है कि गाड़ी आ रही है बंगले में आके पार्क हुई. YouTube पे चलेगा ये shot. But Facebook में हम ये shot हटा देते हैं. We start from the dialogue. Right. Because it's that 3-second rule, right? You want to engage the audience in the first 3 seconds. You want to put the punch in the first 10 seconds so that the audience then stays longer. So yeah, I mean, we understand this is all learning through the last 6 years. And if somebody can implement this immediately, I mean, it could be a great help.
Absolutely. I think that's very, very valuable from an insight point of view, right? That you have to create for the platform. It's not like आप एक चीज बना दो और आप उसको छोड़ दो और हर प्लेटफॉर्म इक्वल है वो चलने लगेगा. ऐसा है नहीं. I think my journey as well, it has taken a lot of time to convince people that we need to do this and not just a standard one size fits all thing. Let's go to Water with Vineet. I think it's time we go into our rapid fire segment. I have one last question after Water with Vineet, but I will hold that in my head.
I'm going to have a sip of water before.
In your matching sippers, I'm guessing those are SIT branded.
Yeah.
In some way. Lovely. Okay. Right. Let me ask the first question on Water with Vineet to Mohit. Mohit, acting or directing?
Directing, anytime.
Why?
Why? ये तो रैपिड फायर है ना.
मैं क्विज मास्टर मैं हूँ.
अच्छा. यार देखो, it's always better to be the puppet master than the puppet, right?
Oh. Depth. समझ गया सर. Very pithy, very on the point. Get you. Chhavi, to you, what has been Mohit's best acting moment or best sketch on screen?
Acting moment?
Yeah, best sketch that he's been or best video that he's been acted in. The one that you're
he's acted in.
Yeah.
I think he's one guy who's acted in the maximum number of videos
right.
with multiple characters. I think my favorite one of him would be when in one video he played a watchman.
Right.
He made the most handsome watchman ever. So tall, 6'1".
बेस्ट यूज ऑफ रिसोर्सेज ना. मैं फालतू पड़ा हूँ सेट पे, कपड़ा पहना के खड़ा कर दो मुझे.
Love it. Absolutely love it. My next question to the two of you, I'd love for you to give me independent answers. Who are some up and coming creators that you guys are looking out for? Again, I know that there's an entire generation of creators who are now by and large legends in the Indian content space, right? The TVFs, the AIBs, filter copies, the SITs of the world. But from the new crop, the young creators that are coming, people are zooming up to 5 million, 8 million, 10 million. Who have you got your eyes on? Who are you looking at and saying, hey, they're doing some cool work?
Mohit is going to answer this one.
यार मेको honestly, I really like the content that Beer Biceps Ranveer Allahabadia makes. I think he makes a lot of sense, and a lot of people follow him for what he talks to, and he's also no newcomer, obviously.
Right.
I mean, we all started our journeys together. He's good. I mean, TVF is diversified with multiple other channels, Galyapa, Timeliner, all of them are doing their own work. बाकी यार मैं बहुत young content नहीं relate कर पाता हूँ तो मैं देखता नहीं हूँ. But a lot of these TV creators, TV actors who started blogging are doing so well. I mean, that is something that takes my breath away, and I feel कि यार कैसे कर रहे हैं ये लोग? How are they able to connect with such a large group of people? And it really kind of sometimes I feel jealous also. I feel हम इतनी मेहनत करके स्क्रिप्ट लिख के ये करके वो करके एक वीडियो प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, ये दिन का 1 घंटे का कंटेंट क्रिएट करके डाल रहे हैं और मिलियंस ऑफ व्यूज उस पे आ रहे हैं, ये कैसे हो रहा है? तो आई थिंक सबके अपने अपने प्लसेस होते हैं. So I think so lot of new creators to watch out on, and I follow a lot of creators on Reels now.
Right.
I think Reels is a place where I feel a lot of new talent. Like I really follow this guy called Ritesh. He does some really funny stuff on Reels. But then there's this woman called Varsha, I think Varsha Solanki or something. She creates some amazing content. So yeah, So short form mein, I think reels is where I look out for content.
Mhm.
But long form, I would say, if you're talking about Facebook and Facebook, I follow a lot of random content
Right.
because I discover content while browsing,
Mhm.
and I watch, and sometimes I don't know. Nick and Ayu, they create a lot of these informative
Right.
content. Sometimes I watch a lot of their content. Then again, I think I've taken too many names.
Yeah,
No,
But
love it,
but
yes, I mean
absolutely.
these are some of the guys that I watch out for.
It also shows so much content is being created, right? A very
Correct,
different
correct.
type of. Yep. Chhavi,
Correct.
some of yours?
no, Mohit answered that question, no?
Okay, done. My next question to you is more about uh, what next, right? Like what I mean, I think it was Mohit who said a little while earlier about the potential of SIT, right? I want you to tell me what is that potential that you're building up. What is the ultimate success for you?
I think what we need to now, kind of from where we are today, we want to evolve into becoming not just creators on platforms on social media,
Mhm.
but also then go and make bigger shows for platforms which are purely OTT,
Right.
which are purely not social media but content platforms, right? So like a Netflix or an Amazon Prime or a Woot or a Hotstar, right? I mean that's next for us. I mean TVF made that jump. Pocket Aces has made that jump,
Mhm.
and I think we pretty much have the talent to do that. It's just that we don't have the bandwidth right
Mhm.
now. But yes, that is one thing. And secondly, we are experimenting majorly with also the content that we've already created. We are diversifying with languages now. We are going a little more native. We've captured the urban household. Now we want to go a little more deeper into tier 2, tier 3, and see how they react to the content that we create. So yes, that's next steps for us. And potentially, I would say why I would say is we've not reached our 100% is because if you look at our peers, and I don't call them competitors, because I think the best part about social media content creation is that there's no competition. Everybody has their own set of communities that they've built.
Mhm.
People follow everybody for a particular reason, and they go and watch their content for a particular reason. So there's no competition. It's not like I'm competing with TVF or TVF is competing with me, or vice versa, right? So I think we still need to see bigger numbers on our social media followers, on our subscribers, and all of that.
Love it. Inshallah, all of that happens as soon as possible. I have one last question. And I mean this in the nicest way. You have two kids, right? One day, your kids come up to you and say, Papa, Mama, we want to be creators online. What's your advice to them? I'm sure you've thought about this at some
No,
point
so
in life.
my daughter actually wanted to start a YouTube channel when she was 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
And then I started one for her. She said that, okay, I want to make craft videos. And my first video will be about how to make a paper fan.
Right.
Okay, so she's 6 years old and she did her, like, she put on her jewelry and all of that, and she did coloring, and she made me shoot. And every time she would get lost for words, she would just look at me and say, Mama. Then I would tell her, okay, see this. She told me that I don't want you to share this with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Don't send it to Nana Nani. Don't send it to Dada Dadi. I just want to make a YouTube channel.
Right.
So now when it's very difficult, because when she sees me make reels and shoot vlogs and shoot these videos and put on makeup. So, she's growing up in a certain environment. And the biggest piece of advice that I give her is to just be herself.
Right.
Do not think that she should look prettier, or she should act in a certain way so that people like her, or she should create a certain kind of content, like she said, craft videos. So don't let anything affect your thinking about what you want to create just because it's in vogue, and just because somebody else is making it well, you don't think that you can also do it well. Just be yourself, and you will find people who follow you, and you will find people who don't follow you. As long as it's making you happy, just do what you want to do. And that's all I want to tell her, because I see so many youngsters nowadays who are so conscious about how they look. And I think with filters,
Mm-hmm.
everybody can just look like who they want to look and actually not be that. And I feel that when we were younger, when we look at our pictures from those days, we can see who we were.
Absolutely.
But what about this generation? They're going to grow up after 20 years. They will not know what they look like. And they will always feel that I'm looking worse than I was because, dude, you've used a filter. You've used 10 filters on your face. You don't even know what you were looking like. For all you know, you're looking so much better today. So I think that is what I want to protect my kids the maximum from, and just teach them to be themselves, no matter what they want to be.
Absolutely right. Anything to add, Mohit?
So I think, see, if they want to be content creators, I think that's the easy one. Because मैं तो बोलूँगा आ जाओ बेटा गल्ले पे बैठ जाओ धंधा आगे ले चलो. But I think the challenging part would be if they come to us and say that we don't want to be creators and we want to be something else. And that would be, I think, the challenging part for us as parents to then accept that कि यार ये नहीं करना चाहते जो हमने इतनी मेहनत से बनाया है या किया है, वो कुछ और करना चाहते हैं. But yeah, we'll always
support. But वो होगा because content creation, they can't just start doing what we are doing.
Of course not. So I mean, they could have their own. They'll have their own destiny. They'll have their own journey. They're too young right now. In any case, I mean, the younger one's not even 3, and Riza is all of 9. So they have a long way to go to decide.
Of course, and I'm pretty sure this will be at some point a conversation, given the illustrious parents that they have who are making such amazing content. Thank you so much. This was a great chat. I'm so glad you guys chose to spend time with me talking about your creator journey. I had an absolute blast getting to know the kind of stuff that has inspired the stuff that you're creating, right? Shitty Ideas Trending is one of the OG names in digital content, something that at least people my age have grown up watching and associating with a lot of human, and I wish you all the best to realize the vision that you have for SIT going forward as well. I hope you had fun.
Yes, absolutely, Vineet. Thank you so much for having us here. And when we are not on a podcast, when we are not recording, we would love to take some marketing tips from you.
Oh, I'm always happy to that.
हाँ, कुछ सिखाओ यार.
ये पॉडकास्ट के एंड में आपने बोल दिया क्या? That is, I'm sure Mohit is being his trademark humble self. I'm sure my listeners have an idea about how successful these guys are. Right? Love it. Thank you so much again for joining.
Thanks, yeah. Thank you so
episode.
much.
To my listeners, if you liked this episode, give us a shout out at IVM Podcast or at Ashcharya Fuck It. That's me on Twitter and Instagram. And yep, that's what it is. Ashcharya Fuck It. You can reach out to Mohit and Chhavi. Just type their names on Instagram and you will see them exactly pop up. That's it on this episode of Storytellers and Story Sellers. This is me, Vineet Kanabar, saying goodbye.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On the Habit Coach, Relationship and Dating Coach, Yadavir Singh joins Ashton. He explains how the subconscious mind affects our relationships. On Big Talk About Tiny Humans, Devi Shobha and Meghna talk to Dr. Swati Popat-Vats about container baby syndrome. On Press Decode, Sarah Vagda and Prafula discuss scammy health foods and doping at the Olympics. What's wrong with Joe Rogan? On Smarter with Sid, Siddharth dives deep into his latest controversies. And on Tere Mere Raaste, Keshav tells us how a visit to the Taj Mahal can overpower you with love. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. The word of mouth really helps. Also, don't forget to rate us on whatever platform you're listening to us and check us out on YouTube. You can check a list of all our channels at ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Bank of Baroda and HDFC Life Insurance. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Habits? Routines? How exactly do they help us get better? Well, to simplify it for you, tune in to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashton Doctor and I'm going to be here to help you get better daily with some simple, easy to do habits that you can easily adapt to your life. So tune in to the Habit Coach podcast from Monday to Friday because I believe that awesome lives start with awesome habits.